Guys, we're here for a daily prize on your Friday morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're watching this episode. The prize podcast is brought to you by, or the daily prize is brought to you by the prize podcast, where we talk about sports and the Christian worldview intersect one another. If you would like to watch more extended episodes, come join us on Thursdays. That's when I do my extended episodes. You'll notice from yesterday's episode, or technically Thursday night, which is when I was recording and it's set to premiere, I had the title Going Home. Well, what's funny was I had a topic set forth that was supposed to go with that. I had to kind of toy around with that and basically mesh it real well with the topics that I had in hand. But I do want to say this is the real daily prize of going home because Travis Hunter is gonna go home. He's gonna go back to Florida. Uh, that was not the way it was supposed to go. So, I'm actually doing this as a reaction to really about, let's see, it is 9:44, so probably about an hour and a half to an hour and 15 minutes ago, or sorry, an hour and 45 minutes ago. You had Cam Ward, who was pretty much the draft pick that everybody thought he was going to be for the Tennessee Titans. So that's good for Tennessee. Hopefully, he turns out to be a very good quarterback for them. A lot of comparisons to Steve McNair and kind of that whole genre of quarterback. So we'll see if that works. Cam Ward is a good quarterback. I think he's a fine quarterback. He played really well at Miami, has made a lot of headway by really entering the transfer portal and coming in to build his way up to a premier program like Miami, and then obviously get selected by the Tennessee Titans. Now, with that being said, uh, the biggest shocker of them all, Cleveland Browns get at number 2 in the consensus pick was it was supposed to be Travis Hunter, who would be a wide receiver and a cornerback, not to be confused with quarterback, a cornerback. Now, Cleveland spent a lot of money and a lot of draft picks to get Deshaun Watson. Well, we know that has not turned out well. And some people wonder, well, did they go with Shador Sanders? Is that someone they want to move with going forward? And that's not where it went. Uh, so basically, the Browns had a choice to make. Do they take a quarterback? Do they take the best available player with Travis Hunter? And they don't do either one. They trade. They trade their pick, which is absolutely crazy. But it's something that actually makes sense to me. So this is how the pick went. The Browns traded the second pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars right as Cam Ward was being picked with the first overall pick. This is according to Yahoo Sports. The details, according to Adam Schefter from ESPN, the Browns were trading number 2 and a fourth round pick and a sixth round pick to Jacksonville for a number 5 pick, a second round pick, and a fourth round pick, and a 2026 first round pick. That, and it even says this, that is wild because really that gives the Browns a lot of good picks, and they needed a lot moving forward. Um, and so that's good for them. They needed that. I'm not a Browns fan. I'm a Steelers fan. So they're like one of our division rivals, but I think this is going to be really good for the Browns moving forward. I think this is going to bring them to a good spot where they can get more talent. And they still got a couple top picks. And so good stuff for them. I think that was one of those things that people weren't looking forward to, but we really won't know the outcome of it until years down the road and see, okay, well, does Travis Hunter end up being this breakout player for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Now, the biggest thing for Jacksonville is they spent a lot of money. Uh, and the other thing with Jacksonville is going to be deciding, okay, uh, Cleveland knew what they were going to kind of do with Travis Hunter if they were going to pick him. He was going to primarily play wide receiver. Well, now Jacksonville's got to decide what they want to do. But I think the biggest thing that I'll take away from this is this aspect of there's something about going home. There's something about going home, and Travis Hunter gets the opportunity that he gets to go back to Florida. Uh, is Jacksonville, West Palm Beach, Florida? No, but it is still Florida. That's where that's his home state, and it even says, one of his comments was he was super excited to go basically back to his home ground. Um, so yeah, so that's it. He's gonna be with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that is obviously a sexy pick for them, if I could say that, because they're gonna get a lot of fanfare for that, and he'll be playing a lot alongside a lot of real talent and good talent. So for them, it was really the question of for Jacksonville is, okay, how do we obtain that talent? What does that look like? How do we get to that point where we can grab that talent as quick as we can so that we can get better as quickly as possible? The Browns are playing more of the long game in their opinion. They're looking at, okay, how can I get the best overall picks and have the best overall uh opportunity for multiple players to have multiple things that go well for them, and to really work hard to build up a team of people. And I think that's just as important. So you can go two ways at this to really connect with just kind of the Christian worldview and connect with a couple different things. You know, sometimes it's best to not always take the the best in people's eyes pick when concerning anything spiritually. Uh, if you look at just throughout the Bible, think about people who were picked by God. David, he was picked by God. Was David this well-rounded, attractive person? No, he wasn't near the man as Saul was on the outside, but it says that God looked at the inward heart. He looked at David's heart and saw that he was a heart or had a heart that was after God. You look at even the disciples. The disciples, none of them had anything productive to bring to the table that was outstanding by worldly measures. They were fishermen. They were very uneducated to a certain extent. But yet, God uses these people, and He uses them for His glory, and He uses them for the building of His kingdom. And so, my challenge to you today, and just kind of my thought for the day, and my daily prize for you today is sometimes it isn't always the splash that really builds the kingdom. It's one person who's already done the splash, but yet he uses very unlikely people to continue his kingdom building. And the very unlikely people that he uses, the very imperfect people that he uses, is the church. And he has chosen us unto salvation. He didn't look at us and say, "Wow, that's one that's one guy we like because he can do this and this." Uh, God doesn't look at us that way. God chooses the weak to shame the strong. God uses the weak, or sorry, the foolish by worldly standards, to shame the world and to show the wisdom of God. And so that is what you truly see. That is the trade that we're willing to make. I was even watching and just kind of building off the theme of going home. Even in college football or college basketball, you're seeing schools basically trade players to a certain extent. I talked about this earlier this week of Joey Aguilar, who was at UCLA and he's going to Tennessee. And then you got Nico, who's going from Tennessee to UCLA. Uh, and you're going to see, okay, it wasn't necessarily a direct trade like it would be in the NFL or NBA or whatever, but there's a trade that happened. And so we're going to see, okay, who really comes better off in this trade? You see even the example of Ian Jackson. He went from North Carolina to St. John's. St. John's was a place where he was going home. Then you've got Jaron Stevenson, who went to Alabama. He's from Chapel Hill. He went back home and now he's going to North Carolina to play basketball. So you never know God's opportunities before you. You never know the people that God could use in those situations. And so, just like how we don't know what the Browns are going to do to build up their franchise, we don't know if this will end up being a great strategy in the long run. We really don't know. We don't know if this splash pick by the Jaguars to really get the best player available is going to be the best for their franchise. We won't know until we see the other side. What we do know as believers is that the work that God does in us with people who are weak, who are not strong, He displays His strength through them. But here's the reality of it, and this is what He had to tell His churches that, or that He used to other people through Paul and other disciples that He used to affect the church. He used it to show them that He would work through them, that He was confident about the Lord in them. Paul was confident about the Lord in them, in Thessalonica and some of these other regions and other churches, because he knew that God would be the one to keep them and endure them, or so that they can endure to the end. And so, do you have the Lord in your life that doesn't just save you in the past, doesn't just save you in the present by keeping you holy in your life, by uh, helping you reject temptation, helping you pursue righteousness daily? He's also the one that will help you obtain the full riches and benefits of His grace and glory. And that is where we leave off on the Daily Prize. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining on this Daily Prize episode. We'll be back for more episodes next week on the Prize Podcast, where we talk about sports and the Christian worldview intersect one another. Take care.